What's up, everybody? My name is Tam. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk about the dysfunctional borderline personality disorder family, because those are going to be dysfunctional, even in ones that are highly functional, where there's a lot of love, there's a lot of things that go really right in the family. Let's say one parent is a borderline and the other one is not. Well, that may balance out some things. The person might be a quiet borderline, and so there's not as much toxicity, or it's harder to detect. I think every family has some dysfunction in it, because you have people in it who are human, who are trying to make things work, or trying to figure things out. Problems arise. No one has a perfect answer, so there is no perfect family. But when you have a borderline family, there's going to be a lot more toxicity, even when it seems that everything is picture perfect from the outside, or like things are just going well. When you start to dig deeper, there's a lot of enmeshment. There's a lot of stops and starts, and somebody's always in trouble in that household. Not always, but there are going to be times when somebody's in trouble for something that in another family that would be dismissed as nothing. So you are terrible because you painted the wall a color that was slightly more beige than what it should have originally been. Like, what's the difference between a light beige and white? Not much. But in a borderline family, you're going to be in trouble because you are terrible, or you're leaving me, I'm feeling abandoned. So now you are terrible, you're rotten, you're horrible, you're not meeting my every whim or my every need. An example of an enmeshment or an issue with a family that's borderline is, let's say the mother is a borderline and she talks about her husband, the children's father, to the children all the time. Your dad does this, he does that, he's horrible, he's terrible, he did this to me, he said that, I don't like him because of that. That's inappropriate. That is a conversation that can be held with a friend. I think that would be a lot more tolerable. I mean, some people say, oh no, don't say anything negative about your spouse to a friend or whatever. But if you feel like you just have to vent, or you and your friend, that's what you do, you work out, you talk about some of your problems with your spouse with each other, I personally think it's far more appropriate to talk about that with a friend than it is to talk about someone's father or mother to their child. Even if you're married to that person, that's inappropriate, because now you're creating a scenario where they have to choose sides. A child doesn't want to pick sides between the parents, so you're turning one parent against the other one. That doesn't put the child, even if it's an adult child, it doesn't put them in a healthy place. That becomes very enmeshed, very toxic. Also, the child, even if they're an adult child, the enmeshment comes in because subconsciously you need that child. So your relationship between mother and child or father and child becomes inappropriate to a certain degree, because you're friending your child or your mother or your father. You are the best of friends. Well, what about friends? Friends have a place, parents have a place, and I'm not saying that you can't develop some level of a healthy, respectful friendship when you are all adults. I'm not saying that, but when you become each other's sole source of friendship, companionship, there's gonna be some things that cross boundaries, cross lines. Now I want you to be my friend, but I need you to be my mother, but I need you to be my daughter, but now I'm friending you, and some of that doesn't work. Like it just doesn't, it doesn't translate well a lot of times when somebody has to be your mother and your friend. It's sort of like if you have a child who's 6 years old and that child is your best friend and you're the mother. Well, children do things that are wrong. They have to be corrected sometimes because they're children. They don't know everything yet. So they're going to make children mistakes that require some level of discipline or consequence. You don't give consequences and discipline to a friend. You know what I'm saying? And so it just starts to become very, very toxic. I'm confiding in my mom things that I should really be talking to a friend to. So then we turn on each other, we argue with each other, we get infuriated with each other when we're not playing the friendship role appropriately, or you think, oh, well, I can just say anything to you because you're in the friend role. Or now sometimes I'm the parent and you're the child when it's really the other way around. And so everything just stays toxic. Like it's a roller coaster of toxicity. I yell at you, I fuss at you. Now my feelings are hurt. Some things are more appropriate to talk to a friend about and not your mom. Like there's certain things, certain parts of your business that they probably shouldn't be in. There's also going to be some level of deep denial where you can't see exactly what's happening in the relationship and you keep repeating the same types of mistakes over and over. Holidays could be very toxic and difficult to get through because you're pushing buttons constantly. There's splitting, the black and white thinking. You have to walk on eggshells all the time. Sometimes you're getting yelled at and punished for things that are inappropriate that you should not be getting punished for. So somebody always comes away feeling like the bad guy. I'm terrible. I'm horrible. But yet I'm doing everything you're asking me to do. And I'm certainly not doing the things that I see other people doing. And yet I'm a horrible, terrible person. And that's what borderlines will make people feel in their families. And that is not okay. But borderlines can struggle with seeing themselves, taking ownership of their actions when they're doing something wrong. It's very difficult for them to own up to that. Now, they will go into a state of shame and guilt, but just getting them to understand certain things are difficult because they struggle with the self. So if you can't even hold on to the self, then how can you go inward and admit fault? It's difficult to do. So if you're part of a dysfunctional borderline personality disorder family, what are some tips that you use to cope, to get through the difficult times? Because there's going to be a lot of difficult times. So I do not have a book on borderline personality disorder, but I do have one on narcissistic personality disorder called The Workplace NaRCISSiST by Tamara Zyon. And I would love for you to check it out because it will help you understand narcissists better. So I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.